Ito no mpulira Mike Mwana Shivana representing Farouk.
Happy Idahobit Day. Yes, today 17th of May we celebrate the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersex phobia and transphobia, or any other form of discrimination against people of the minority groups. Oh, and I just want to say that thank you so much, the World Health Organization, for removing the homosexuals from the group of mentally ill people. That is how we get Idahobit, because initially, being a homosexual person used to make you be put in a category of people with mental health problems. But around 1990, who said no? These are human beings and their rights have to be respected. So, from 2005, we've been celebrating Idahobit. At first, we used to have Idaho, which was just International Day Against Homophobia. That was 2005. And then in 2011, it was Idaho, which was International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia. And then in 2018, we were updating it to Idahobit, which is International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersex Discrimination, and Transphobia. And now we are saying from that year till now, we should just celebrate all forms of discriminations, like no more homophobia, no more intersex phobia, no more transphobia. Like, we should just all be the Bakuyas of this generation and say no to discrimination, because we are who we are and we are Bakuya Togere.
She said what she said.
Yes, welcome to our episode, and today we are celebrating Idahobit. Happy Idahobit, my people.
Thank you.
How do you pronounce it, Posy?
I've been here struggling.
As you tell us who you are, nice to see you.
I am Lucas. I'm happy to be here. I'm actually always excited to be here. This is a platform that I always look forward to being part of. Yeah, and today I'm happy that we are celebrating Idahobit. Yeah, because we are celebrating people like me, the cause of the community.
This is your girl Gazelle, the female lover, and this day I can't wait to finish it and also just embrace myself in my authenticity and just being who I am on this day. Happy Idahobit once again.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah, the rich lesbian, and yeah, where is the lie?
No discrimination against you.
No discrimination against me. I'm very excited for Idahobit Day, and I can't wait for the conversation. Thank you.
And I am your host today, Sweet Chocolate.
Subi here, as always, slightly older but gently used. A woman. Happy Idahobit Day. Hope everyone is good. Happy to be in this space once again to share with you and enjoy the space. That is it.
Yeah, while you're there, can you just tell us what does this day mean to you as the slightly older, sexy girl, gently yours?
For me, this day means visibility. Before, people used to think gay people or lesbian people do not actually exist. They were a myth. But for someone to actually come out and say, no, these people actually do exist, and these people are not to be feared or discriminated against and gotten out of the mental health bracket. Yeah, for me it means visibility. It means I am seen. It means I am loved. It means I am acknowledged. It means as I am, I present who I am. Yes.
Your visibility.
Yeah, the slightly older women. When I heard her saying the slightly older women, it reminded me that Idahobit is a day of appreciation. It's the day of gratefulness, because we give thanks we remember our elders and our ancestors who came before us and fought for us to be here, to even be speaking here freely. And expressing ourselves, using this platform to educate and create awareness about the different discriminations that happen in our community, and the work that has been done by those people, the organizing that they did that has brought us here. And we also celebrate the present, and I'm happy that here we are having actually different generations, different people from the different generations, and it's an appreciation of what it means to grow a community, solidarity, and mobilize people, the different people in our community, to advocate and bring or shed light on the things that happen to discriminations or the resilience that we've been able to come. Yes.
I will not differ from the previous speakers, but to me also the day is reminding me of who I am, but then also highlighting that the world, the environment, the community that I'm in is always a space for fighting, trying to prove, ourselves for like being who we are. And then also just the day is also just a reminder of how resilient I am, but then also the community at large. We've come from far. We are still here and we'll still be here. Yeah, to me it's a day for remembrance of resilience, and that's who we are as, the Labakwais.
Yeah, just like everyone else has already said, the Idahobit Day is a day all about honoring the people who came before us, what they laid for us to enjoy today, the activists that came before us, and just celebrating our own existence. Just mere existing to this day is just something that we should be able to celebrate. And it's also about accountability, right? To the people that, continuously, violate our rights, people who, deny our existence and always, throw us at the, at the back of everything. It's a day for accountability, for them to think about us, for us to come out and actually prove to them that we are there and they have to serve us right. So that's what it means to me.
It's really powerful. Like maybe to just stress out, like it seems like all of our lives, like from generations to generations, there's always been violence and discrimination against the minority groups. Given the recent efforts to stop discrimination against homosexuals or Labakwa women or the LGBTI community, why do we still face a lot of discrimination? Why aren't we doing right? Because from 1988, we are still organizing. Like, what's happening?
It's not that we are not doing anything right. I think people have done everything possible to make sure that we are visible, we are seen and everything. But remember, in our organizing, there's also the anti-rights movements that are coming up. That is one of the biggest things. The more we rise, the more the anti-rights movements also rise. You understand? So as we are trying to preach the gospel of acceptance, the gospel of human rights, the gospel of, there's another group of people, especially led by the church, that has come up to make sure that we are not recognized in any sort of way, because they think we are demonic, we are satanic, we are Satan's best friends, and everything in between. So the rise of the anti-rights movements, if you look at especially even here in Uganda, especially, yes, when you look at, they are well funded, yes, they are well funded for them to fight the agenda of having the basic human rights of LBQ people recognized. So that is one of the reasons why there are still so many violations against LBQ people. Yes.
Our community is divided. We are divided. We still need to unite. If you're saying anti-rights movement, they are organizing. They are putting their differences aside. They are not saying, maybe this is a black woman, maybe that's a black man, or this is an Indian or red Indian, or they are organizing themselves. They are uniting. They are solidifying. because they have one common goal. They're putting all their differences aside and they are saying we have one common goal, which is we are anti-gay rights. So whatever we have to do, whatever is happening around us, we have to organize, we have to solidify, we have to come together and devise ways of disrupting the anti-gay rights movement. So I believe if we too actually organize well, form solidarity and create movement, we can actually continue fighting and we can resist or reach a certain kind of achieve certain achievements in our resilience or our movement. And also the social norms and social stigmas. Even as couples, we still have the, in quotes, the man of the house. And
Within our relationship.
yes, within our relationships. Like for example, if I am dating them and they could choose maybe to represent themselves as men or to refer to themselves as men, and they want me to actually be subordinate to them. And even when I come in the community and I'm given information, I'm educated about maybe SRHR, how that I should go and get certain services, and my partner might refuse me because they are the man of the house and they don't believe in certain things. For example, maybe if I get fibroids, my partner might say, no, you cannot go to the hospital. You have to use herbs and we have to use Jaja Mwanga, they have to heal us. So social constraints, yes.
Norms and how it's all structured, that there's
Yes.
some power.
Yes, so many times people see us and they're saying, these guys, they're fighting against the very systems.
They are trying to be like the heteronormativity.
Yes, they're. Yes, for example, we've had people saying she's not dating men. She doesn't want to date men, but then she's dating a woman who looks like a man in a man's clothes. Then why don't you just leave the woman trying to be a man and be with a man, a real man? Yes, because then you're saying you don't want sexual, you don't want penetration, but then you're buying sex toys. So all that ignorance and social conditioning has led to continued abuse and violation from people and our very own. Yes, we discriminate among each other because actually today is a day of reflection. What's happening in our communities? Many times we violate our very selves. Lesbians, you'll find lesbians abusing bisexuals. You'll find gay men calling the lesbians fish. You get like, how do you
find the lesbians also?
Yes, and then you find the lesbians also calling the gay men Mabina, But I mean, it is what it is. I know, just like you said, it's gross. And you guys have all given me the facial expressions, exactly what I was trying to put across. That's what we are calling ourselves. That's how gross we are being to each other. So I believe it starts with us as we celebrate Idahobit. I believe it starts with us. We have to stop discrimination among ourselves, use more inclusive languages. And we have to use these platforms to educate ourselves.
Producer here, from the hetero side of everything, talking about all this, I feel like also people not knowing it's very hard for a human being to change. So I feel like the new normal is very hard for them to say it's actually happening, it's actually there, it's actually like we are afraid for people to be different. We want, as long as they can't put you in a circle where they feel this is your fit, they feel like, this is wrong, you can't be this, you can't be that. But in actual sense, when you look at it, you're like, how is it wrong? if you could explain to me about, because everything we know in the hetero world, it's something created by man. It's something created by man. There's nothing like, we just say that God did this, God said this. If we had to say things, I feel like we are all created in God's image. So if God really didn't want you, then he or she wouldn't have created you. So I feel like the hetero, the whole essence of people not knowing what it is, instead of educating themselves, the new normal is actually afraid to come out from their own side because they want to stay in their comfortable zone. Like, no, that is not acceptable. This is what it is. This is how it should be. But I feel like if you actually sat down and accepted what is and say, okay, I might not know this part of the world. Maybe if I educated myself about it, I would be in a better position. So I feel like the struggle is also there, where we don't actually accept people for who they are, but we want them exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add on what you said, saying that from that side of the hetero world, it's always the man. But then also I see the patriarchy plays a lot, right from Lucas and Subi, talking about, the narrative, where they're coming from, the anti, everything's about, there is power involved, and then there is patriarchy here playing at its part, talking about social norms, who is, bringing about these norms and gender roles, as they say. So I think patriarchy is something that we also, that has played and still plays, because also in our relationships we still do exercise that. Then I also want to talk about the narratives, and mostly the African narrative. They say that homosexual is a Western thing for us in our, I heard that there is a meeting that was going on for the anti-rights, like they're having a meeting discussing African values, what African values should look like. They're also talking about a child shouldn't have a right, like any child, a teenager shouldn't have a right to deal with contraceptives, so they need also to have rules that govern parents. Those are the discussions that are going on, really. So I think such narratives also have been a barrier that just continuing to create violence and discrimination. Then from all this, I think they bring about the laws and the policies, because that will shape now the laws and policies. So we have the AHA, which we're not going to deny. Then also we have the marriage. There's that marriage bill. Like literally, it's not only to the community, but then any person that is identifying as a woman, and generally women, I would say that. So these laws and policies, really also play a great.
For me, speaking about why we are still organizing, like since time immemorial, to me, it draws to one thing, like let me say religion, culture, the anti-rights movement, and all that makes me think of just one thing: colonial mindset. Because you realize that the anti-rights movement are using, first of all, religion to, counter us. They are using our own cultures. You realize that our cultures have been already contaminated by Western ideology. So I think for us to, user to homophobia, to this continuous, everything, I would like to talk in the context of Africa alone, because it brings a whole new kind of category if we talk about the whole world in the context. But in the context of Africa, would like to talk about decolonizing our ideologies, our views. Let's go back to, our African ideologies of Ubuntu, because queer people used to exist before, and they were not, hated, they were not decriminalized, there was no such religion to, correct people as we see it in conversion therapy today. So for me, I think the problem is colonialism, because it still runs in us very, very much. So we need to, decolonize everything, decolonize mindsets, and we'll, stop organizing, because it's not the funnest thing to do. We love it, but we could be chilling and not organizing about accepting us.
The fact that we are a community that has been discriminated for a long time, change doesn't happen overnight. Yes, we have to recognize that change keeps happening. Something keeps. Now, if you look at even the feminism movement, People have been fighting for women's rights. To this day, they are still fighting for what? For women's rights. It doesn't mean they don't face any backlash. They also do. Now, even us, as we go ahead with whatever it is that we do, we cannot say, now we've done enough, and then sit back and relax. No, because the environment keeps changing. Now, like when Chocolate was introducing the topic, you see how Idaho, it started from Idaho to Idaho to now it is at Idahobit. Yes, it means there's a revolution every other time. So we have to accept the fact that change doesn't happen overnight, and that means people are not going to accept us overnight. Yes, every day there's someone that is born, that is new to this, that is entering the movement or entering into the anti-rights movement, that has to be schooled. So that means the schooling does not stop, and that means even us in our movement, there are new people that are coming up, and they're going to face these very things that we have faced before, or that we are facing now, or that we'll face in the future. The challenges do not stop. Yes, so that is why it is important for us to continue with, because change doesn't happen overnight. It goes on and on and on. So as we talk about how we've been organizing all this time, but there are still discriminations, those discriminations are not going to stop. And the fact that they are not going to stop, they are still happening. It means we also have to continue fighting. It does not stop. So we cannot say we've organized and we've done enough, now we can sit back and relax. No. Yes, that is why the discrimination is still going on. Because new people are born every other day. New people come through every other day. Yes, so we have to make sure that all this was tackled in different ways. In 2007, the kind of homophobia we are facing is not the same, right? In 2007, it might have been a little bit more physical, but now it is even online because of the internet. Now everyone has an access to a phone, everyone has access to data. And they are going to abuse you. Yes, I'll give you an example of. I know. I'll give you an example of that boy Brennan. What he was doing. That boy has gone through it, and recently someone posted of how they saved him because he had become a lost cause and everything. Now he's acting more manly, and for me, whether he's gay or not, it does not bother me. But it is that constant hounding of someone that is minding their business, doing their content, earning their money. But someone still is able to hound them, because right now I think he's in Nairobi, he's not even in Uganda. Yes. So so these things keep revolving. So that is why I'm saying the discrimination might keep taking on different forms. It might not be physical, it might be mental, it might be whatever it is still going to happen. But we also have to continue organizing for what we're able to combat it. So that is why the discrimination is still there. It revolves also, it keeps revolving, yes.
That's why Lucas said something about if we are divided, it's going to be very difficult. Because I see the community, it doesn't matter if you are homosexual or not, when it comes to gender identity and expression, you might be in trouble because of what people think a gay person looks, or so people are going to be attacked for actually nothing. So that is the discrimination we're talking about. We need to let people just fly and let people just be who they are. That takes me to, I just want to know, like, just in a few lines, Lucas, what do you think are some of those ways that the community has been discriminating against, like those forms of violence and discrimination that you have heard or seen of, or even like reflected on? For us to have this day, it's good for us to tell people about them.
Many people have been denied work opportunities because of the way they dress or show up or represent themselves. So, for example, I've had to shapeshift, I should call it, or say something like that. Before, I used to be masculine presenting. I still am. However, when it comes to work environments, you find me cladded in work suit.
The guys, you should see Lucas on, on a working day. See a belly.
We have been lucky to see.
And it's
Sorry.
it's okay, and it brings me certain attention that I don't want. I don't want the men hissing at me. I don't want the men hitting on me. I don't want to flirt with men. But as a way of surviving, I'm forced to, every time a man maybe comments something suggestive or tries to flirt, in order for me to keep my job or not to raise any eyebrows, I still have to smile and say, oh, thank you. And I feel it's not me. I even feel mad at myself. Sometimes there's a time I sat at my desk and I was so mad at myself. I was so mad, but it's something I had to do to survive and thrive in this community. Because you see those anti-gay rights people, they shapeshift too. They'll come dressed as us. They'll be among us. They'll live among us. And they take all we organize, all the information that we're trying to get. We do a lot of research. They'll use that very research, all that data, to actually turn it against us. They use it to mobilize and to look for funds. You know, it's actually economic abuse by those people. It's economic abuse. You're finding those who have been blessed, especially. I'm still, like I said, I'm a masculine presenting person. I have my mates who have refused their persons to work. And to my fellow mates, guys, provide, protect, but be wary not to control. Many times, you're trying to protect your loved ones. You like your femmes. I know how studs can be very protective of their women, or masculine presenting people can be protective of their women. And they like, yes, and they like, I'm speaking from a point of masculine presenting because it's what I've seen. I'm not certain about the femme, but for me, I'm speaking from experience. And you find people saying, the one the small kid is a call, I cannot allow her to work because different people will be hitting on her. The men will be eyeing her, the studs, the femmes. And it gets worse if I see her with her femme friends. Those femmes are hitting on my women, and I cannot, there's no way I can tell her you're sleeping with your femme friend because she will say that's my friend, and I have no, so I keep her at home. Can you imagine? One day I'm going to slap a masculine presenting person.
I'll give you an example, a proper example, because this is live. I have a volleyball team where I am part. And at some point, somehow it came out. Like somehow you get out there. And from that time, like my team has been like, when even they speak about it, when like you have new people that want to join, they tell you, your team, yeah, serious. So we have had so many like opportunities of very beautiful players who would like to come and be part of the team, but when they hear that, they do. And there are so many other things that happen in there that show you guys are and like that, like they want to really disassociate from us. Yes. And there's an incident where we were supposed to organize a tournament. Because for us, we're only a ladies' team. We don't have a men's team yet. If we were to have it, it will not be in the near future, but we have a ladies' team. So we wanted to organize a tournament for, all girls. And someone came out and said, no, if you do that, it means you're promoting LGBTQ things. Like it was a whole discussion, yes, on a WhatsApp group, they have like a managers group for all teams. And it was a serious discussion. Like everyone was like, no, Mr. President, you have to stand up and speak against this. It cannot happen. What do you mean? Why are they organizing only girls? They want to influence those girls. And everyone is like, what do you mean? Why are you so concerned about that? So for me, that is how I've actually really experienced the discrimination. Like the team is castigated. Like they don't want any younger players. Everyone that maybe mentions wanting to join our team, they're like, no, that team is for lesbians. You cannot do that. You go there, they'll use you. And you're like, but who is there to do that? Yes. So that is one of ways I've experienced discrimination because of my team. Yes.
And I've been hearing a lot of like discrimination in like the sports fraternity. Like you have your peers telling you like Bamujoku team because the coach wanted some and then she could not. There was even a girl, I think TikTok, she's a footballer, because you know how she was like celebrating, and then her partner came and like I think gave her like a peck or I don't know, a kiss or something. She was removed off the team. But somehow, unfortunately, she's really good at abroad. But
no, but even the musician, even one of the musicians here for some popular song, and they were like, how come she's like that? And on the TikTok, you could see on the camera, she's like, how kasiyazi nawe? Okalaba kasiyazi. So it stops being what you're doing, and it comes
focusing on your sexuality.
Yes.
But that is also exclusion.
Now that we've spoken about that, guys, in soccer it happens a lot, and a lot of young girls have unfortunately had to either leave and go do something else, yes, leave the sport, or actually accept to maybe sleep with those guys to disprove them that they are not what, because it's either that or you're not part of the team. You'll never be selected. It doesn't matter how good you are. It does not matter how well you play. You'll never be selected at all for anything.
Actually,
so yes, it happens a lot.
Speaking of that, I'm sorry to digress a bit, but I've also remembered how if you're not female or woman presenting and you're female by birth, you're not going to receive SRHR services. Actually, right now, if you go to like clinics, people don't want to even see you entering there. They'll be like, "Kwaki tobato zero gulo, wajangu kumacha." Bana bantu nabo kwaki temubagamba, mubakubiri mubagambe bajjo regular. I've seen it happen, and they're saying, okay, if you want to come, you come. But you come either in the evening, closing hours, or be very early in the morning. Come very early in the morning, so that you're the first people to be worked on, or the last people, so that people don't see you. You chase away our clients, especially for those HIV programs. They don't want. They're saying, many people are saying, "Tutwaka kuyana basiyazi." Kati omusajja mbera atya nono omukazi eyofula omusajja ate nga so mumufunisa olubuto. You get it? Yeah, I had forgotten that bit.
With that, I will highlight actually emotional violence, because with such things, I think mentally you can be drained and burning out just because of what goes on around. But alongside that, I will talk about sexual violence as for the LBQ community, but generally the community in itself. Sexual violence, and mostly when you talk about sexual violence, we're looking at the corrective rape that we experience as lesbians, bisexual, and queer women. And I remember, okay, it wasn't like that kind of suggestion. I remember some time back at campus, after my mom was sunburned at school, about my behavior. That was, the university coordinator actually gave my mom an option, which was actually annoyed my mom, because the gentleman asked my mom if I can get married. That was like a way to cure me, of that behavior that he called, that was uncalling. And this actually, I talked about, emotional violence. This was actually something that also, contributes to that. You think maybe I'm not right. Is it a man supposed to correct my sexuality? So sexual violence is something that we normally experience. Some of the violences as LBQ.
Thank you very much, Gazelle, for bringing out the point of, correction and conversion, because it was the same thing I wanted to speak about. I cannot speak about discrimination and violence against LBQ women and not talk about conversion therapy, because it's my own story and I refuse to sit on it, because honestly, I rarely hear about people talk about it.
And it happens a lot.
It happens a lot. People like ourselves have gone through exorcisms. Like,
Oh my God.
people praying so that you
Over
change, praying, parents crying and hoping that one day God will maybe remember you. And then, it creates a certain feeling in your head that you're not okay. And it sticks with you. It sticks with your mental health.
God doesn't know you.
Yes. And they mention words like Katonda lumujukira omwana wange. Jesus, God knows me definitely.
Yeah.
He knows me and he knows I'm like this. He ain't forgotten me. So when I talk about discrimination, that's a very big form, and these pastors, they need to stop it.
Actually, I remember there's this pastor from Kenya that had brought. Actually, they said, what he said, because he gave his what is it, vision? Yes, prophecy, yes. They say that I was trapped in a ditch. I was on the horn. Yes.
Yeah.
And then they said my partner that at that time, then they influenced me because they have money. And literally they did not have anything. So those were his prophecies. Okay, now there's a binding to that. Okay, let me do what you want to do. Then now there was those advances now he was doing, because now he had the parents leave you to so now instead he's the one who like, oh, can you come here, like you get from preaching, praying, instead now to sexual advances and stuff.
Yes, aside from sexual advances, those people who claim to help children to change, actually even for, they bring mental torture. Because I remember the hands of one pastor when I used to be at his place. Because I remember when I was in Form 5, no, I will not. I was in Form 5 and I had to skip one term and rebound from 5 because I didn't study that term. And I spent most of that time with this pastor. And they were praying for me. And honestly, I didn't recover. But I remember the wife used to say, oh, you're Simwana. Oh, you're Simwana. And would tell people, don't associate with that. Oh, you're Simwana. But those things stick with you. Those things stick with you. So the things those people say, the mental health, most of the things, they don't even need to hit you. But they're affecting people's mental health and ruining them. And then afterwards saying, LGBTQ people are psycho. But you made it. I was perfectly okay.
Right? Before you were.
You see, for me,
Leah, what makes you think they don't like the ditch you are in?
That was his prophecy.
no, but I really agree with Hannah, and I somewhat share her. For me, my first sexual encounter was with a man, was with a pastor, and it's because he told me that he's going to cure my homosexuality, because I had struggled with it. I remember I was in a single-sex school, and I remember I'm a twin, so in P6 I told my mom to change me, to put me in my twin brother's school, because here I was scared as getting these feelings for girls. They were intensifying, and I had no way. I kept thinking, I have an issue, I have a problem. I thought I was the only one. Of course, I would see some kids doing it, but because of my religious background, of course, as a Catholic, there is that religious blackmailing that you have. Catholics do it a lot. So I was saying, this thing is bad, I cannot be like this. And then they took me to my brother's school. But as fate would have it, the first girl I crushed on was my twin brother's girlfriend.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy!
And I was like, oh shit. And then I also wanted to move in that school. So I finished my primary, and I made sure I never go back in any single-sex school. But later on in life, I got this pastor who said that they could change me, and I also agreed. And they told me the only way they can change me is by sleeping with me. And that's how I had my first sexual encounter. But immediately, even in the process of it, I was sad, I cried. In fact, I didn't cry, I wept. I remember, even before going to work, I left that place and I went and I told my mom. I first told my big sister, my big sister was telling me, oh, sorry, I felt it was not enough. I went and I told my mother what had happened. But then this guy had been coming home, saying he's my man friend, stroke boyfriend. He had been giving my siblings money. He had been bringing foodstuffs at home. So he, even after that incident, because I stopped picking him up, I cut off every communication, because now I felt unclean. I felt bad about my body, and it took me a while to even, I think it took me about 3 years to be sexual again with anybody. So actually, after those 3 years, that's when I moved into my whole phase. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to blast. But I was so hurt. I was so violated. And it took my mom saying, this guy shouldn't be allowed here, that he stopped coming back home. And I applaud my family for stepping in. But at the same time, I feel bad about it, because it still hurts me. Even when I remember it, there is an anger I feel, that it's that hopelessness. And I don't want any young lesbian to go through it, because it's bad. It's something that, it's a wound that never heals, that goes with you. That for me, when I hear pastors talking about, or religious people talking about homosexuality, it's a trigger for me. It's such a big trigger for me. So before I would abuse them and say shit, but because of therapy and reflection, I've made my peace about it. I just switch off. If I hear it, I walk away, or I just remove myself from that situation. But it still hurts. It's a wound that cannot heal. I felt so hopeless and helpless. Yeah, and
that was really like sad, and this is like really a message to everyone listening to us, parents, or before you trust someone religious or anyone to take care of your child, or anyone to actually offer any sort of, just remember this person is a human being. They're actually a human being, and yeah, like anything can happen. So
by the way, another thing to people who employ us, stop reminding us that you're employing us, you're helping us. No other person will hire us because we are lesbians. Or stop.
The community is full of smart people with books, with degrees, and everything else. So we are an empowered community.
And you pay us less.
You're not helping anyone. And on this day, Idahobit, we're celebrating ourselves, and we're saying no more discrimination against homosexuals, against intersex persons, trans persons, bisexuals, and saying, we know that is happening. Why do we think, and I want everyone in like just a minute, why do we think it is important still celebrate this day, Idahobit, in the eyes of the escalating, increasing anti-rights movement and organizing? And also, what can we do to make our organizing better? Yes. Why is it important for us to celebrate this day in the face of the rising Banange?
I think it's important because we are actually acknowledging our wins, our journeys, where we've come from. So if you're saying that the anti-rights have actually, they've come more in number and they are more vigorous, I feel we have to acknowledge the works that we have done right from, since day one until today where we are. I think appreciating and recognizing the work that we are doing. Yeah.
And what do you think we still need to celebrate as, irrespective of what's happening around the globe?
For me, I believe that celebrating a day like this one and several other days is a sign of resistance, because we are not going to have things on a silver platter. So this is a way of us to show that we are here, we are not going anywhere, and we are going to fight back. So it's a sign of resistance for me, and how we can continue to organize better is maybe, yes, we have people who hate us to the bone, but we have people who would work with us. So let us look out for allies, make community with people who are willing to walk the journey with us, and it will get better with time.
I believe it is important for us to celebrate so that we can look back where we come from. Like someone had said earlier, accountability. Look back, look forward, and also plan for the future. Yes, sometimes you can't tell the future, but recently people have recognized the importance of the community being, first of all, economically empowered. People being cautious of themselves. Yeah? Pause. It is important to take stock of. People have recognized that there's a need for research to be done, and all these things, because before people would talk, and people was like, but we've not seen this before, there's nothing. But now, because of the research and everything that has been happening, there's evidence, there's research-based evidence that is there for people to speak about certain things, whether it is receiving SRHR services, whether it is getting different counseling services, whether it is recognizing that people are actually there. People don't believe that there are intersex people there, but yet they are there. So when we celebrate this day, we look at the milestones that have been achieved, and then look at the present day. What are we doing? And like I said earlier, change keeps happening. It's not constant. It's not something that happens once and lives keep changing or moments keep evolving. Yes, like the way I said, bullying before might not be the same bullying that other people are going to face. So it creates an awareness for people on the situations before, now, and what will probably happen in the future, or project what will probably happen in the future. And then people are better prepared. In a way, they are better prepared, because you can't really tell the future, you don't know what will happen, but people have evidence that they can use as they go towards the future. Yes, so it is important for us to celebrate this day.
We celebrate a strategy of what we can do to make our organizing more resilient and more focused on the discrimination in our community.
Yeah, thank you, Chocolate. First and foremost, we celebrate this day to celebrate the wins. And of course, like she said, how far we've come. I mean, we just started with Idaho, just, celebrating International Day of Homophobia. And then we added biphobia. And then we added transphobia. All that process, we should appreciate it and be grateful for it. And in response to strategies, I believe that this is a strategy. The podcast is a strategy. Yeah, it's a strategy to create awareness, debunk myths, and strategy for advocacy. Now, I'm kindly requesting, humbly appealing to our allies. Please listen in. And when you listen in, hear our stories, get to know about our experiences, and learn from our experiences. And when you learn, use this information to educate yourselves and your friends and people you work with, people you collaborate with. Educate them about our experiences, and then advocate, amplify voices for change. Be our champions out there, because we cannot do this alone. But as our allies, we are requesting you to be our champions in our communities, in our villages, in our very own homes. Many of you allies, you tolerate us. But I hope when you hear our stories and our experiences, you're able to change. For me, as a surprise, I used to think my family is so kawa with me because they would even crack jokes. For us, we are goofy family. And if you don't have a thick skin, you cannot be around us, because we get your very insecurities and then throw jokes at it. But then there's this one time, I think everything was kawa. But I remember my sister has 7 boys, and she finally gave birth to a girl. And I remember one time the daughter needed change of diapers. She was about 3 months. So when I grabbed to change her diapers, my sister said, no, don't touch her. I'm like, come like. Tom kwata kumle koja musige mpisa zembi.
Jesus. Dear Lord.
I was taken aback. I kept quiet. I just couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. Then I realized I actually have to sensitize my own family. And what did I do? I had to bring it in form of jokes, and immediately I gave my sister some good food about... I reminded her that I'm not a pedophile. I schooled her. I took her to school. I reminded her I'm not a pedophile. I told her this is my niece, my own daughter. I had to tell her that nange nina stage, I'm not a football. That where they draw me is where I also have my own type, just the way she has her own type with men. I also have my own type. I don't go for young kids. I have lesbians. We don't do that. People in the community don't do that. We're not pedophiles. We don't go for young kids. We don't go for married women. Okay, it's okay.
Whatever the case is, as
For someone who came into this space of yours, I feel like, just like you said, there is a lot of misinformation out there. As for one, I can testify to that, because the time I came into your space, I used to think otherwise. Not that I went to single schools and... No, not really. I didn't have that, because I already have a sister that is a lesbian. You understand? But there is a lot of information I didn't have as a person. I was once called a lesbian with my sister because they didn't know she was my sister. Listen, now just like you, I have a goofy family. Like, we're always joking, we're like babies around each other. So you would meet people and people are like, oh, you guys are sleeping together. You're like, you know that we're sisters, right? We share a bed at home, we do this. But we didn't, even her herself, there is a lot of information she didn't have. And then she was hiding so much that she didn't know how to come out. You understand? So me, at a very young age, I knew, and I used to tell her, I'm okay with you. Be fine around me. But there is a lot of information that I have actually learned in this community that I didn't have. I don't take anyone. I'm not going to say I'm supernatural or, oh my God, I accept you. No. To me, you're human beings. It does not matter. You do bad manners, I'm going to actually address you as a human being, not because you're lesbian, not because you're this, not because no, as a person. You did this and that is bad manners. But not judging you because, oh, you're lesbian, that's why you're touching me, or you're trans because no. I'm very sure men do that. And we do not say, oh, because you're a man, we say those are bad manners. So why do we have to keep on telling people, oh, because she's a lesbian, don't go near her? I feel like you really, really need to be celebrated, because from my own part, seriously speaking, we are so much miscommunicated too. And we are told things that actually don't. I've got friends between you guys, and I'm comfortable with you, even seriously speaking. Things I can say here that I can't say in my own community. Because when you tell people, they'll be like, Osanga ide job because you understand. Now people are judging you basing on who you're friends to. You know, so which is really, really wrong. So from my part, I feel like you really need to be celebrated, because people like us who have actually been educated about this are happy being among you guys. Are happy. I don't judge even the community to say, I'm not even afraid to say I'm in that community. I don't have to be a lesbian, a trans, a what. I'm a human being and you're a human being, so you need to be celebrated.
Yes! Like literally today's theme was the power of communities, and the fact that we have allies from like the mainstream. Normally media used to report only bad stuff about the queer community, but now we have media reporting and documenting like real life experiences of queer people in a more positive and more advocating way. Hannah, I want you to just tell me, like, as power of communities, you have been like in different spaces. What does that mean for you, being under the youth panel, being in like mainstream space? Imagine that, but they're actually working with people from the minority. That is the power of collaboration. Today celebrating Idaho and that part. What does that mean for you?
I think the power of community is very essential, especially for the idea of sustainability. if we are to sustain our movement as the LBQ or maybe the LGBTQ as a whole, we ought to have allies who are very much, in sync with our values. And I'm grateful for the feminist movement and most of the CSOs, I think even the disability movement, they've come to accept us, and it's something that I've personally experienced and gotten to enjoy very much. These people, start off hesitant, but then when they start to learn about you, then they embrace you, and I've seen issues come out, for example, in terms of maybe let me say funding. There are people who will stop funding issues of LBQ. But just because you are, in sync with other organizations that are mainstream, you could get funding in that kind of way. They could put out hands on your behalf. They could, collaborate with you on certain projects, and that is also sustainability.
Yes.
So in terms of, everything going forward, I'm very grateful for the connections we've made with mainstream, and I hope that we make more, because they're having our hand. And I remember someone told us, from another movement, I think that was the sex work movement.
Yes.
That they had to fiscal host for us sometime,
Yeah,
So
I mean,
the sisterhood is so fun. It's very beautiful to watch. So that's very beautiful.
oh wow. To all the movements. You want to say something?
Yeah, just to add on, like the power of communities, what it is. I think to me it's more of like Shia said, support network, but then also sharing resources. Yes, sharing resources and knowledge, because where we can, someone earlier talked about doing research. So some of our researches that we do, we may not be able to do, produce them as, a community, but then through, our collaborations and other communities that we work with and the allyship, enable us to do share our resources and knowledge.
Yeah, akatalekeka.
As you're out there advocating, you're out there networking, self-care is very, very, very important. And always be safe. Don't just put yourself out there for ayahana wuyo ati ku TV banaenze nimusiyazi. No, guys.
Yeah.
Don't go out there exposing yourself and then you start crying for us. Ate bantegedde jembera, ate what. And you're also out there saying, for me, I'm a lesbian. You're busy kissing in public, fighting, doing those funny rubbish that you people keep doing. No, don't expose yourself. Take care of yourself. Security starts with you. And then, as a way of taking care of yourself, guys, rest. Drink some water. Don't rush. If you feel wobango okoye wumulamu, you get, because the struggle needs a healthy advocate. So rest, unwind, recycle yourself, refurbish yourself, panel beat yourself. Eat well, eat your food, become Mr. Continental, travel if that's your hobby, enjoy a good fuck if that's your way of taking care of yourself. Let your body relax and release. Yeah.
This discrimination has nothing on
And collective
you.
care is also important.
Collective care.
I want to send out a shout out to the feminist organizations.
Yes, please.
I think those were some of the very first people that accepted our community as is. Yeah, the feminist organizations, the sex work organizations, and somehow they took us in as war. And I'm sad that most people assume that all feminists are actually lesbians. I'm not saying it's a bad label. I mean, I wouldn't mind if we're all lesbians. I mean, the more the merrier. But I have seen it used against them. Yeah, someone tries to speak up for something. There's like, the moment I read in their bio feminist, I just knew those are people that hate men. But feminism is not about hating men. Feminism is about getting what the woman deserves, without being, because we are fighting the patriarchy and all. People think actually feminists hate men, but they don't hate men. They actually don't. They just want to get what is equal to them as women. Yes. So I want to shout out to the feminists. They've been like a big part of our growth and our movement. But then also among the strategies that you mentioned, we have to be really, really accountable for whatever it is that we do. Let it be financially, let it be mentally, let it be emotionally. We have to be very, very accountable in everything that we do in this movement for it to go forward. Because if we are not accountable, that means we are leaving gaps that are going to be exploited. So we need to be very accountable about all this and in everything we do. So for me, that is my last
accountability. And given the fact that we have like shrinking spaces, we have low funding on SRHR, so we need to get that money that we are getting, use it properly, and give it to the people to actually do like something with it. As we say bye, please educate yourself and relearn. And so we mentioned feminists. Feminists have written books about queer. We have a book by Sylvia called African Sexualities. Read about that.
Listen to our podcast.
Please decolonize your mind. There's no white person told you to be who you are. You are just meant to be who you are.
And would say that be okay with spaces that actually accept you. Stop chasing everything that comes your way. I feel like there are people who will never accept it, but then there are people who will be willingly accept you for who you are and be okay with those spaces. Little, much, whatever it is, just be okay with that. I feel like it's something that will drive you far than wanting to convince everyone that I'm here, because you're already here and you've accepted who you are. That's already enough for you. So I feel like you should be okay with the spaces that are okay with you.
You should be okay with the spaces, as our producer said loud and clear. Please be okay with the spaces that treat you right and that invite you right. So happy International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersexphobia, Transphobia, and all other sorts of discrimination and violations against LBQ women and the entire LGBTI persons. Please do not forget to comment, share, like. We need subscribers. Banange. Go to YouTube channel and look for Bakuya Togere. On our Instagram, go to _Uganda. Then on X, it's at _Uganda. Decolonize your mind, be okay, and we've been Bakuya Togere.
She said what she said.
No discrimination.
I got a question.
Very serious.